This being the last session of the day, I think is appropriately an open floor. It should be a very dynamic and fluid discussion as we go along here. What we're going to be covering is what are the next steps for implementing safer, livable streets in Ontario. And so really, this is where the rubber hits the road, as they say, to try and get started. I'm going to do some quick introductions. And I'd like to start at the far end with Christopher. Christopher Norris is the Director of Technical Services, the Canadian Urban Transit Association, responsible for data collection, analysis, and publication of Canada's transit statistics and performance indicators. This valuable data enables individual systems to benchmark their activities as well as monitor the overall performance of transit in this country. Mr. Norris is also managing ad hoc member for survey policy and industrial research, as well as coordination of the research projects with third parties. Technical Service Department, valuable information, support center for Canada's transit industry. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to shorten some of the bios up a little bit here. Great, thank you. So thank you, Christopher. Fiona Chapman, who needs no introduction. Yes, she does. Fiona Chapman, Manager of Pedestrian Projects for the City of Toronto, is responsible for the implementation of the city's recently adopted walking strategy. Since 2003, Fiona spent a significant amount of time involved in the key city building issues that has worked on a broad range of policy and operational issues related to parks, licensing, planning, housing, and social research. She has also been seconded to the Social Housing Services Corporation to set up its policy and research unit. Next here is Barbara. And Barbara, I wasn't here this morning, but I believe you were introduced this morning. Should I say anything about you?
No, that's fine.
No, okay. So, and then finally, next to me, as soon as I can find this, I should know this by heart actually, is Antonio, but hang on for a second, because I want to get it right. Okay. Antonio Gomez-Palacio is a founding partner of the Office for Urbanism. Antonio's professional experience and research is focused on the intersection of architecture, planning, and urban design, having worked on a wide range of urban projects and master plans focused on urban intensification, mixed use, community economic development, sustainable development, and heritage matters as facilitated through participatory processes. Managing complex projects, Antonio's work is characterized by the creation of compelling and implementable visions, employing innovation, cross-disciplinary designs, and policy tools. Through many of his projects and initiatives, Antonio has been an advocate of complete streets, seeking to establish urban environments that are vibrant, pedestrian-oriented, sustainable, and successful. So I'd like you to welcome our panel, please. So as I indicated, this is an open floor, open forum, really to ask this very knowledgeable group of people, how do you get it done? What are the pitfalls? What have you learned along the way? So I would like to start with one question, and just throw it out to the panel, is we've heard a lot of different challenges to designing safe, livable streets. How do you overcome these challenges? What are the challenges that you're finding in the areas that you're working in? And that's a start. So.
So I'm not sure if this is on, but it'll come on in a minute. I think one of the things that we keep on trying to think about is that designing a complete street is not something that you do in a 20, 30, 60 meter right-of-way. It's actually a 1 kilometer right-of-way. If you really think about it, 500 meters on either side is more or less a 5-minute walking distance, which means that people using a particular street, the one that you want to deal with as a complete street, are connecting to it from more or less a 5 to 10 minute walking distance. So we really need to be talking about that 1 kilometer strip where things are taking place. So we can't think in isolation of those things that are happening within the right-of-way. We actually need to think about the buildings, land uses, the open spaces, everything that is happening within the living environment of people who are going to be accessing it. It's kind of pointless to do a beautiful streetscape if there's actually nobody, not the critical mass of people to actually get there. It's kind of pointless if it's not connecting anywhere, or if you don't really have the amenities that are going to build the destinations along that corridor. So really, and I think that is in part one of the key challenges, is in painting the complete picture, in getting people to understand all the interrelated and complex aspects of what takes place along that corridor. You know, we keep on thinking as well that our biggest success is if in fact we eliminate the need for the street. And what I mean by that is we shorten the distances to the point that your starting and your destination are, if not the same, they're very nearly the same. And something that, one of the questions in one of the sessions that was a minute ago, was about understanding the street as part of the public realm. And that's when it really becomes interesting, is when we understand the street as the major component of the public realm, and the street itself becomes the destination. And that has to be part of the completeness of itself.
Any other comments, quick comments before we open it up on challenges?
The challenge that I think is really common is just inertia. Most transportation departments have been doing things the same way for a really long time. There's a lot of structure built up. People come into work every day and they know what they need to do. And really getting people to understand that this isn't just some slogan, but that should inspire change in that everyday work environment and all the documents they're looking at and the way that they approach every project. That's one of the difficult things, and it takes persistence. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of looking over time. And actually, I would, since we're having a panel, we should have a little bit of debate. I'm going to try to find a point of debate here. It's true that the public realm piece is essential to ultimately creating a livable community, but the complete streets concept, we actually try to keep it from getting to be too big. That it's actually not the silver bullet. I mentioned this morning. It's not the be-all, end-all, one policy that's going to make your city perfect. There needs to be a lot of land use things that need to happen. Complete Streets doesn't really address land use directly. It does have a context component to it, but you're going to need to change zoning ordinances to increase density and do all of those things as well to really create a truly walkable community. And I just want to be really clear that I think one of the reasons Complete Streets works is it takes that one sector and really zeroes in on how it changes the transportation sector. There'll be plenty of other things that need to happen, but Complete Streets focuses in on that. So that was as close as I could get to disagreeing.
Yeah. Okay.
If I might, I speak as a staffer, and we're a very large city, and which has its challenges, but most of our challenges are just pulling together all of the different staff who are in fact involved in streets. And I loved your sort of identification of some of the key elements, which was becoming opportunists. And we, in the public realm section, often describe ourselves as crass opportunists, and we see that as a good thing. And we're interlocutors and facilitators. So, constantly teasing out who needs to be at the table, making it a table that works for everybody, not stepping on toes, or doing so advisedly, because we have to work with them tomorrow and then the day afterwards. And if you really tick them off, it's not going to look so pretty next time around. And I find using the example of New York has been really illustrative to me, which is taking pilot projects, because it lets everybody off the hook somewhat. And it's not an embedded decision, which is, we'll just try this as a one-off. We'll see how it works. And there's a different level of investment, not just at the staff level, but certainly politically and amongst communities. Change is hard for even change advocates, in my experience. And all of a sudden, when you talk about the opportunity to say, we're going to just try it for a short period of time, and we'll figure out what we want to do, and we'll measure it, and we'll correct as we go along. It just
I guess one of the benefits of going last is having everyone else go over your points first. But speaking from a transit point of view, by definition, a transit trip includes active transportation. And if we can't get the people to that stop to actually take transit, there's no point. So it's important to get that complete street concept out there so that we can entice people, yes, make the street the destination so that we can give people choice in their mobility and not restrict them to one single mobility choice. I think our biggest challenge moving forward is probably retrofitting, I don't like that word, but our suburban communities. I think the urban areas, we're probably fairly good at creating that mobility choice within our urban areas, but once we get to the outer fringes of our cities and into the suburban communities, that's where lies our biggest challenge in moving forward on this.
I think Christopher and I were speaking just very briefly before we started, and we were saying that the suburban areas have got their challenges. We're looking at suburban areas now that have 2 and 3 generations that have grown up entirely in communities that were designed around the car. The car is why you went to the suburbs. The idea of the green around your home, the place in the country side, and I think that it's important to expand this discussion to a very broad scale. We've seen a great deal that deals with the urban context, which of course has its own intrinsic issues, but it goes much further than there, and even beyond suburbs, small towns, villages, hamlets. You're isolated, quite often. So I'd like to open it to the floor to anyone who's got any questions for this panel, discussion points, things that you've heard today that tie into how do we start to figure out how to get this done.